takes about 45 minutes. So just stick to the pathway behind me and any questions are allowed along the way. Alrighty, well let's get started.
And you go down without a coat. How do we get
The tubes in this area to collapse, including the section of the lava tube that creates. Just on the other side of that is a giant crater, which is what's left of the volcano. The crater itself is 3.5 miles in circumference, and in statues that actually weren't Indians, they were cavemen. They existed around the same time period. They were just known as the early day lava men because they stuck up in these high volcanic areas. And they think that they became extinct. An opening in the ice that was 14 inches wide and about 2 feet tall. So there in the middle layer that you see, how it's kind of thin and broken up, well, that's from the faster moving. Well, what I'm circling there with my laser pointer kind of makes a silhouette of a man's face. An old Indian legend stating that there was an Indian princess that got turned into a bear and trapped behind a giant ice wall in the back of the cave, and not to let them out to follow her. He's been there ever since they found the cave, and he hasn't changed at all. And no matter where you're standing and on the stairway, you'll see that there are some bones there. Well, and when she got in here, she could not get back out because at that time the entryway was made of ice. But that was not her biggest problem. Her biggest problem was being a typical bear. She went to the back of the cave to hibernate. Well, when she got back there, there already was a small ice wall forming. So by the time she woke up, that ice wall had gone clear from the floor to the ceiling, and there was no way she could get past it. She ended up having 3 cubs back there, which all ended up dying of starvation. That's the smaller bones you see left in the middle, preserved in the ice in the back of the cave of July of 1984. Modern-day grizzly bear skull that we put out there to show you guys the difference in size and head structure and how much the bears have actually evolved since then. And of course the larger skull on the left here is size in this room here is anywhere from 18 to only about a half an inch to an inch of water depending on where you're at. And of course in some places there isn't because the ice is melting. And the Big Wood River sits about 3 miles north of the highway, and the average temperature is at about 27. The rooms that tend to collapse, because they're normally a lot wider than this room is here, which causes them to be about 4 to 6 inches thick on the roof of them. And that's what would cause them to collapse. This one, on the other hand, is a lot narrower than normal compression valves, and it has 65 feet of rock on top of it. So it's solid, it's not going anywhere for a while. But the room itself is 8 feet wide, 42 feet tall. Like I said, they were able to recreate that airflow, and the ice in here started to 20 years due to the drought that we've been going through, and also from that incident. But with this winter and how much snow and water we've gotten, we've actually gained close to about 2 feet of ice on the floor throughout the whole entire cave. So it's been pretty amazing on how fast it's grown this year. But if you also notice this large indentation in the back of the room here, that's what is known as a lateral tube. It's caused from when another lava tube tried to enter in here after this had already formed. So when it broke through this inner layer of lava, it just automatically started to freeze it up, leaving that winter.
it does.
And then when the snow melts off is when we'll officially open. But
Colder outside when that bear came in here to hibernate.